because I get a lot of anti-Semitism across social media, a lot of them are like these really horrible Holocaust jokes. So I have a meme of Hitler saluting, doing the Nazi salute, and underneath it says, "I've had it up to here with your insensitive jokes." and it, like, I win the battle.
This episode of the Colion Noir Podcast is brought to you by Vetter Holsters. Welcome to another episode of the CN Podcast, and joining me today is man, myth, legend himself, the Pew Pew Jew.
How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Well, okay. Let's just jump right in, because you handed me this book, right? And so on the cover, for those of you who are just on the audio version of this, his new book says, it's called Bullet Points: Reasons Why America Should Embrace Common Sense Gun Laws. Something you want to talk about? So
I was sitting by the pool with my kids, and my brain's always working. I was trying to come up with new and creative ideas to not just troll people, but let's be honest, our industry takes themselves very seriously.
Yeah, we do.
Way too seriously.
Yeah.
And I like to kind of mess with people. So I just recently bought Michael Knowles' book. And from there, I was like, you know what? I think I can do my own version of this book. And 3 months later, Bullet Points came out. Yeah.
I mean, you have reviews on the back of this book from people. You have Brandon Herrera reviewing it, Antonia. You have Kevin Dixie, all types of people, and it's empty.
Yeah, it was great.
Because there are no reasons. But anyway,
I had to call a friend of mine, Jill McDaniel. I don't know if you're familiar with her. So she runs Mom's.
You know what's crazy?
Mom at Arms.
You know how good. Sorry, I didn't mean to go on a different track real quick, but the other side has done such a great job with capturing different words that anytime I hear moms, the first thing that comes to my head is Moms Demand Action.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, they've done such a good job at that, and I hate them for it.
No, they know how to manipulate words and steal those words from us.
Yes, they do.
But Jill McDaniel at Mom at Arms single-handedly took on Moms Demand Action, and she's a great investigative journalist. And I called her up. I'm like, hey, this is my idea. I don't want you to hear rumors that I sold out. So she loved the book. She's like, what can I do?
Yeah.
So she started writing like little pieces here and there, little not hit pieces, but like, did the Pew Pew Jew sell out? Kind of to build buzz. Gotcha, and all of a sudden, people in the industry start calling me. They're like, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Okay, listen, this is my 8th book. You guys have seen my other 7 books. Do you trust me?" They're like, "Yeah, we trust you, but still, you know." Yeah. I'm like, "Give it." The book comes out in 2 weeks. I promise you. Not only will you see what the book is, you will jump on the bandwagon and support this book on common sense gun law. And they're like, we don't think so, but we'll wait till the book comes out. And the minute the book came out, it drove the industry crazy, because there's so many people that got played and they got mad.
Oh, because they
don't have a sense of humor, right?
Oh,
like they got played.
Right,
and then there's the other people who were like, we got played, but this
well played.
Done. well played. Yeah. So the book was fantastic. It was I'm still getting into trouble with it. I still get reviews on it. Even though on my website and on Amazon, it literally says underneath the description, it says, P.S. for those that can't take a joke, this book is blank. But the idea of don't judge a book by its cover literally is this book.
I love it, man. I remember when you first showed it to me, I was like, what? I was like, and then first thing I was like, are you trolling me? and I was like, this is brilliant.
Thank you.
This is absolutely brilliant.
Thank you.
Oh man, this is that. Good job. So I've got to give a quick shout out to Vetter Holsters. They're now sponsoring the podcast. I've been using their light tuck Kydex inside the waistband holster, and what I really like is how adjustable it is. You can tweak the ride height and cant to get it exactly how you want. Plus, they've got holsters for over 450 gun models in 75 different colors, so you can pretty much find whatever you need. But here's the thing that really sets them apart: their customer service. I've heard so many stories about how they've gone above and beyond to make sure you're happy with your holster, and with a lifetime warranty and a 30-day money-back guarantee, it's clear they stand behind their products. If you're in the market for a great holster, check them out at betterholsters.com. So how did you start doing what you do? Like where did Pew Pew Jew come from?
So I began when my first book came out. My parents had found out I was married out of the house with baby, and my parents found out that I owned a gun. It was in California, in LA. So it was a Glock 19 Gen 3. I was on the roster. My parents found out, and they went like full on Chernobyl. Like, we're talking about like nuclear meltdown, and calling me every name under the book, irresponsible, and everything else.
Yeah.
And it kind of hit me like, if I'm going to be a gun owner, not only do I have to really understand firearms, but I want my kids to be educated as well. So I went to the NRA's website, found the Eddie Eagle program, but realized that it doesn't go far enough, right? All they do is talk about what to do if you find a gun somewhere it's not supposed to be. So I was like, hey, I've always loved creative writing. So I sat down on my iPhone and I threw together my first book, sent it to a buddy of mine in the LAPD, and he, constructive criticism, tore it to shreds, walked me through the whole process and educated me, really well. Yeah. And, worked it out. And my first book came out, which was a book on gun safety for children. And then from there, I just have 8 other books. But the Pew Pew Jew came about when I was working on my book about the history of the Second Amendment for children. It's called 27 Words. It's kind of a breakdown of the 27, what's well regulated, and what's a militia. Okay. And I was talking to a friend of mine. He's like, man, you're like the Pew Pew Jew. And, the little business light bulb, goes off. And the next thing I know, I call my illustrator. I'm like, dude, I need a logo that has a Star of David, a gun, and the words of Pew Pew Jew all wrapped in one. Yeah. And then, 3 days later, it was born. And even then, I never thought I'd be where I am today. Like, that was never part of the plan. Yeah. But people like what I have to say. People started following me, and companies wanted to work with me, and now here I am.
So what made you, when you got that Glock 19, what made you get the gun in the first place?
Okay, so my close buddy in LA, he called me up and he's like, let's go shooting. I'm like, all right, great.
It's a start like my story.
Of every story, right?
Yeah.
And I wasn't anti-gun.
Yeah.
But I always thought that firearms were owned by police, military.
You literally sound like the Jew version of me. It's uncanny. But go ahead. Sorry.
You're just better looking. No, but we went to the range, and it was like right out of a movie. He took out like this. At least this is how I remember it. Like this big leather case, and kind of unrolled it. It was like shotgun, AR, pistol, right? Like, and I'm like, who the hell are you? Like, where have you come from? Like, you've been keeping this a secret. Yeah. But again, I always thought that military, law enforcement, and bad guys own guns. I never thought civilians can own a firearm, because again, I was a spoiled LA boy. I didn't care about the Constitution. I didn't care about politics. And I was 20 years old. I just didn't care about any of that stuff. So I didn't even know what the Second Amendment was. And he's like, no, man, you can own these. And I'm like, okay. So I shot, and I got that bug, and a few years later, I bought my first gun, and, tried out a bunch of different guns. But back then, we're talking about 17 years ago, there wasn't the same variety that we have today.
I'm sure that roster was a lot smaller too.
A lot smaller. Yeah. So really it came down to the Glock 19 just was that perfect fit for me. Yeah. And that's how I got it.
Man, that's literally textbook. The only difference is I started buying guns within that same month. like after I've shot, and I was like, oh yeah, this is I like this. Like, and it was I just went that rabbit. I followed it all the way down.
All the way down.
Yeah, man. And so, but what's interesting is, so let's go 30,000 foot and then go back down to 15, like back and forth in the sense of, so is that a pervasive, is the kind of because the way your parents reacted, is that common amongst Jewish families?
So I think,
and I know it can kind of be all over.
Right. I think it was. I think post October 7th, the mindset has changed drastically. Yeah. But you always hear that all Jews are Democrats, right? So that's what I grew up believing until I realized one day, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican. I'm like a 3% Tea Party, abolish the ATF, burn the Fed down, right? Like that's right. One day I woke up and realized that. But Yeah, Jews in the past, and I mean, this is a long conversation, but Jews tend to be, in many cases, anti-gun. But again, that breaks down by like Orthodox Judaism versus Reform Judaism, which tend to be more like liberal. So because you tend to be more liberal, you know.
Gotcha. So you think the anti-gun sentiment is born from just the inherent liberalism ideology that they
No. So the anti-gun sentiment, what I believe is you have to look at two things. First off, Jews in Eastern Europe in the early 1800s, late 1800s, had all these anti-Semitic attack, pogroms, you know, Cossacks, all this. Fast forward. But back then they would just kind of dig their heads into the sand and just let whatever happens. We're not going to fight back. They lived in these little ghettos, and that was it. Fast forward to America. Jews in America in the early 1900s would vote Democrat, would vote Republican. Didn't make a difference. It was kind of wherever you were located, whatever was beneficial for the community at the time. FDR passes the New Deal. The Holocaust happens. Now you have hundreds of thousands of refugees coming over from Eastern Europe to America to start a new life. But they had all of these social welfare programs. So they become devoted to the Democratic Party because all these programs help them. On top of that, and this is something most people don't think of, a lot of these Jews just went through the Holocaust. They don't want to see another gun again for the rest of their life.
Gotcha.
They saw what guns can do.
Were they not aware of the gun culture in America?
No. At least I don't think they were, because why would they be? You know?
I guess that is true. It's not like they had social media back then.
Right, exactly, right?
They didn't have Pew Pew Jews and Colion Noirs.
Exactly. So then you have, you know, they move to America, they become beholden to the Democratic Party, and then, you know, it's like, oh, my grandparents were Democrats, so I'm a Democrat, and
sounds like same shit they did to black people. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar. It's very similar. There's a lot of similarities between blacks and Jews and the way we grew up.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I know for me, like you pointed out, for me, like the idea of having a gun was entirely foreign. It was like only, you know, drug dealers and gangbangers and the cops had guns, right? My first rifle, I would hide it under my bed. It's just so my mom wouldn't find it. Not that I was really scared of my mom. Sorry, Mom, I'm not scared of you. But I didn't want to upset her.
Right, exactly.
Right? I didn't want her to think that I've just become this wayward child, because she was working so hard to raise me, you know, by herself as, you know, raising a man. It's not easy. And so I would hide it under my bed, and I did that for a long time. In terms of, I was, which was funny because I wasn't young. I was in my 20s. But, you know, I'm still at home.
You lived at home.
You know what I'm saying? I'm in college and in law school. So it's like, I didn't want to freak her out.
Fair,
and
right.
So I relate to that on a deep level, because that was me.
Yeah.
That was definitely me. So then from the kids books, what is the motivation behind that? So like, I know you started off initially, you're saying you love creative writing.
Right.
And so it's a very specific niche.
Right.
And so the two just married just like that. Like it wasn't.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Again, I wanted to kind of shut my parents up when they found out that I had a gun.
Yeah.
And I was going to do that by educating myself and my children on firearm safety. Even though, again, I knew I owned a gun, but I was still at my early stages, so I didn't know what I know now.
Gotcha.
So I was like, I wanted to shut my parents up by saying, hey, no, look, here's a book that I wrote. I'm taking it seriously. And then I realized no one in our industry is writing children's books. I mean, maybe, you know, like Julie Golub came out with one, which is a great book. A little younger than my demographic, but still a great book. And there might be one or two out there, but no one is writing children's books, on education. And not all my books are education. Like, people go to my website, have a lot of satire too. But no one's writing it. So I was like, hey, I'm going to write my first book. And again, never think I was a one and done. Like, I was going to write my first book. I've always wanted to be a published author. It was because I grew up reading. My parents took away the TV when I was 5. So big fan of writing. And then from there, it just kind of was like, wait, I'm a published author. I can actually do this. And then I released 4 books in 1 year.
I've been working on my book for years, right? For you to release 4 in a year is crazy.
Yeah, it was 2017, And between January of 2017 and January of 2018, I released 4 books.
That's impressive.
I hustled. I didn't sleep. I was up late working early mornings and all the while living life, raising children, stuff like that. So, yeah.
Gotcha. So have you seen any pushback from not just the children book side of things, but just being the Pew Pew Jew? And if so, where do you see most of that pushback?
I mean, I get pushback. I get, I had one, apparently a Jewish guy on social media say that I can't be a real Jew because I support the Second Amendment. And I asked him if he wants me to drop my pants to prove it. But he didn't answer me. But
that's one way to go.
But yeah, I mean, I've got some. Okay,
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
Okay. Go ahead.
But no, I've had some kickback. I've had some people, a lot of anti-Semitism from left and from the right. The ultra right now. People can't believe that I'm actually pro Second Amendment. They think that I automatically am anti-gun and I'm a faker because I'm Jewish. So it's like that simple. But it's fun. It's fun because I did create a meme, and this is a great meme that, because I get a lot of anti-Semitism across social media, a lot of them are like these really horrible Holocaust jokes. So I have a meme of Hitler saluting, doing the Nazi salute, and underneath it says, "I've had it up to here with your insensitive jokes." and it, like, I win the battle.
Sorry. It just, when you said it, I understood it conceptually, which was funny to me, and then the image came in my
right. It's like underneath, right? And it's great because like you win the battle, like that person disappears because the person realizes like, there's nothing I can say to this guy
literally
that will get under my skin. So I have a lot of fun.
I see. So like, okay. It's interesting how you said that a lot of the Jews from the Holocaust who came over here were like, they wanted nothing to do guns because they didn't want to see another gun considering what they were going through.
Right.
And for me, I look at it and I go, wouldn't it be the opposite? Like, wouldn't they want to embrace the idea of having the ability to fight back if they had, access to firearms and so forth and so on? Now, granted, that's from my limited understanding and perception.
Right.
All right. Like, I didn't experience it, so I can't empathize with what happened. So why do you think it kind of gone? And I know I'm asking you to speak for an entire group of people.
Absolutely, I get it.
But like, why do you think the mindset went towards that direction of, we don't even want to see guns versus give us all the guns so that this can never happen again type situation? Because I've even made that argument before, right, in videos.
Right. So I mean, I really think that it's, again, first off, we can't judge him, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
of course.
right. Yeah. That's for things. But it could just be we're spoiled. We have never gone through a trauma like that, right? Maybe our ancestors did, but we've never been through that trauma. How do we know how we're going to react in a situation?
Yeah,
we don't.
Yeah,
it could just be they came over from America. They came over to America, and the idea of firearms only had a negative connotation, right? They, again, like we said, they didn't know about a Second Amendment.
Yeah,
so they're like, no, we just we're going to do our thing, stay away, keep our heads down, and try to start our lives again. They just didn't grasp what they could have had.
Yeah. And I noticed that too in some immigrant families, right? Like you can see the distinction. It's like the parents are like, no guns, keep them away. We don't want anything to do with them. But then their kids are kind of like, they embrace the idea of it, right? Because they're born here, right? So that concept is kind of instilled in them because they were born here.
Right, and they're learning about the Second Amendment,
exactly.
Right? They're learning about what it stands for, the real reason why we have the Second Amendment.
Yep.
And they realize that, to protect ourselves from tyranny, it's like I say, people with ARs don't get in cattle cars, right? Like,
that's true.
That's what it comes down to.
But I wonder if it's, like, and my parents are immigrants, so I went through it. I know exactly how it feels, and I think some of it has to be because they come from a place where they have no ability to check their government. Right. So the idea and the concept is foreign. It's kind of like the government is the government. There's nothing you can do about it. That's a big bad wolf, big bad dog in the room. It is what it is. Exactly. Right. And we just hope that they don't screw us. Whereas then here, I grew up and I'm like, government who? Right. But
that's exactly what it is. They are coming from a society, from a generation where no one outside of America had a Second Amendment. Yeah. Right? It's either the government is all powerful and you either obey or die. I mean, it's literally that simple. Yeah. But they come over to America and they just don't, they rather just be between the two, coming from the Holocaust and dealing with all the trauma and seeing, the Nazis killing their loved ones. Just no, guns are inherently evil. We do not want to be part of it. Yeah. And I think also too, during that time period, I think the idea of firearm ownership here in the country was so ingrained that Americans didn't even talk about it. It was just kind of understood. Yeah. Right. So there wasn't this push to be like, embrace the Second Amendment. Right. Because we weren't fighting for the Second Amendment like we were today.
Exactly.
It was even people in government embrace the Second Amendment.
Yep. Which is weird. I was like, where did we go wrong? What's next for you? What do you have planned after? Actually, I forgot. Yes. Forgot about this guy here.
Spot Gilly.
Yeah. So talk to me a story about, this is basically Where's Waldo for guns.
Yeah, that's pretty much where it is. I'm kind of I don't want to say a neat freak, but like I like to have my house clean.
They call it a neat freak.
Oh, they call it a neat freak. Okay, fine. So okay, there we go. So I'm a neat freak, and I went out of my room one day and my kids had made a mess, and right there in like the center of the hallway, laying by itself on the floor, was a Where's Waldo. And I cursed out my kids for not putting it away. Yeah. But then it hit me. I'm like, how much fun would it be to make a gun version of Where's Waldo? I'm like, but who would you find? And I'm like, okay, the one person you always see on Instagram or you see on social media, like, can you spot the sniper in like the thicket? Right? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Right? Like, where's the finished sniper in all the snow, right? And I was like, you know what? You're gonna have to find a sniper. So I immediately called one of my good friends, who I call him my creative director. I'm like, dude, this is it. And if you see, it's besides finding the sniper, it's great because there's 10 other characters you get to search for, from the vet bro, the FUD who has a shirt that says I support the second butt, the angry RSO, an ATF agent, a gun bunny.
Oh, Ava made it in here.
Ava made it in there. I called her. Maj made it in there.
Oh, her dog did too.
Yeah, Ava and Peaches, and there's a tactical rabbi in there.
Yeah, there's Brandon Herrera.
Yeah, and then just on every page is just, a full-on action scene. This is a zombie apocalypse.
This is done incredibly well.
Yeah, my illustrator is truly, mind-blowing. He's done almost all my books, and his range of ability to do different types of illustration is just insane.
Yeah, this is, when I tell you, this is done extremely well. Like, holy.
And there's some Easter eggs on, and like this one has a big Easter egg. Over there you have the Red October, and if you remember the movie, where's the one state that the guy kept wanting to go to? He goes, I never saw Montana. So that's
the state of Montana.
The state of Montana. Gotcha. So there's, and I asked him to put Navy SEALs in, and he actually put
a Navy SEAL.
Yeah. So I love working with this guy, because what I do is I'm like, here is my vision, but this guy is like a million times more creative than I am. So I'm like, this is what I want to see in the book. Other than that, you put your stuff. And he has
this, the bow and arrows against the guns. I like this.
Yeah, this is supposed to be a I'm not copying a Bass Pro Shop, but it's inspired.
Okay. All right. I see it now. And then of course space.
Yeah. This one, they're all just really fun. So
How long does it take him to do something like this?
So usually it takes about 3 weeks to do one image.
One image being like this page?
One spread. One
okay.
spread, yeah.
Okay.
He originally starts off with a very blurry picture. Nothing is sharp at all. It's like, this is kind of the setting. And then if I approve it, then we get down to the nitty gritty and we will clarify all of it. So
this is, because this looks it looked like this would be incredibly tedious.
It is, and I've talked to him about it, but he loves it. You know, he thinks it's a lot of fun.
Things you can do with passion, I swear.
Yeah. Like, so every page is sponsored by a certain brand. So this one's sponsored by Avidity Arms.
Okay.
So Rob Pincus asked me if I can get him inside the book. He's like, hey, can you put me in the book? I'm like, sure, Rob, I'll do that for you. So, but like this is
of course Rob wants to be in the book.
Of course, yeah, of course. So wrong. But at least this is like the Case Diner, right? From Independence Day, right? And that's why it has the established 7/4/96 is when the movie came out. So
that's funny.
There's small Easter eggs that you get to have fun with, and
this is awesome.
Yeah,
I didn't honestly. I like this. I loved. This genuinely loved. I didn't think I would enjoy flipping through. Is this for children?
Yeah, I mean, it's technically for children, except I've had some adults tell me that they have a hard time finding the people. So maybe it's for adults.
Well, I haven't found anyone.
Okay.
But I'm enjoying, like, honestly, I don't care about finding anyone because I'm enjoying just looking at the illustrations, like the minor aspects of the illustrations and the different people. Like, I'm just enjoying it. It's just visual eye candy for me in a way that is like making my brain go. Like, and
it's funny because as a creative person, I'm really able to use my creative outlet by telling my guy, I'm like, okay, I want to see people doing this, people doing that.
Yeah.
Now you bring it to life, and it's really cool when he sends me a finished page and like seeing it alive, what I envision in my head. I mean, it's a really cool process.
This is freaking, like, I'm enjoying
it. So this one you'll like this one. So here, if you look in the top corner,
wait,
little DeLorean action from Back to the Future 3.
It. See, it's like the little things like that that just makes it so enjoyable to look at. Like, I can see this being a phenomenal bathroom book.
Yeah, that or I know when I got it, my two of my kids were sitting on the couch for like 2 hours, literally meticulously going through every page.
Yeah, no, seriously, like I could do that all day long. Yeah. And the colors are so vibrant and they're just so detailed. Yeah. That's good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so check it out. So I feel like Oprah now, right? You're gonna be my Pew Pew Dr. Phil. So we have bullet points. All the reasons why you should support gun control or common sense gun laws. And this is Spot Gilly.
Spot Gilly.
Volume 1. Where can I go and find it?
So you can go on Amazon. All my books are on Amazon. If you think my autograph is worth $8, you can go to my website and get it on there.
Fair enough. Well, appreciate it, man.
Absolutely.
I really, really enjoyed it, man. Got to have you back on, man, because this is, when you come out with Volume 2, when you're getting ready to do Volume 2, let me know. I have some ideas.
Okay. Yeah, we can.
I have some Rob Pinkett ideas.
Okay.
One thing's for certain and two things are for sure. Politicians and tech giants don't want gun content to be recommended to you. And we're all fighting this culture war together. Now, you can help do your part by liking, commenting, subscribing to the channel, but most importantly, sharing this video with at least one person. Together, we can stop the suppression of our 2A rights. And don't forget to click the link in the description section of this video for the products that I mentioned in this video.